What does this display of Confederate emblems mean? What does it serve to teach the rising generations of the South? This glorification fosters in this republic the spirit of rebellion and will ultimately result in handing down to generations unborn a legacy of treason and blood.
The Lee Monument for John Mitchell was the epitome of the biggest mistake ever.
But as far as what they represented, my family has always known what they represented. They were pulling political power away from any Negroes that had any political power. They were disenfranchised, and he spoke out about it.
The Negro put up the Lee Monument, and should the time come, will be there to take it down.
I view John Mitchell as that true civic journalist because most journalists shy away from getting too close to the story. For him, that was his passion, to be in the story.
John Mitchell was the fighting editor. He was at one point a politician. He's a newspaper man.
Has a great logo of a black man's arm with a big bicep holding lightning bolts, which has two meanings. One, they're very advanced. They have an electric press, but it's also, he's going to throw lightning bolts at the structures of power. Fearless enemy of police injustice, of lynching. This is a guy in his 20s and 30s, in the really first decades of freedom.
He was boisterous, but he was just. He came off with an air of, you know I'm right, right? You did say all men were created equal, right?
Tell me your thoughts about people that speak their mind.
When John Mitchell spoke, people listened. And in many ways, he, along with Maggie Walker and other African-American leaders, really were the vanguard.
Maggie Walker was an entrepreneur, an activist.
The first woman to found and charter a bank in America. She also was the first woman of color to run for statewide office in Virginia, and she was the largest employer of black women in the city of Richmond.
She, alongside John Mitchell in 1904, led a streetcar boycott.
We understand that in a few days we are to have Jim Crow streetcars running on our streets. Our advice to all Negroes is walk.
African Americans were using these streetcars to travel to their jobs, and they were paying this regular price, but were being treated as second-class citizens. So what did they do? They didn't have the vote anymore. 1902 Constitution of Virginia pulled that apart.
The 1901 and 1902 Constitution is designed almost specifically to disinvest African Americans of their constitutional rights. And the people who were responsible for convening that convention were explicit about that, very explicit about that.
This convention undoubtedly has the power to provide for the restriction of suffrage as it may deem most wise and expedient.
What it does is it uses poll taxes to remove 80% of African American voters from the voting rolls. The dirty little secret, though, is it removes 50% of whites as well. Virginia had one of the lowest voter turnout rates of any free democracy in the world, and the lowest voter turnout rate of any state in the Union for most of the early 20th century.
So without the vote, how were they going to make those changes? It was through economics. Instead of riding the streetcars, they would walk. And for 2 years, that boycott went. And it was successful. The streetcar company went out of business.
Mind you, this is 50 years before the Montgomery bus boycott.
It showed a couple of things. One, that a black man really does have a voice even at that time, and to make something happen, but that a people bonded together and banded together can create a powerful message of unity to equal the social change.
2 years, can you imagine? 2 years to be committed to that so that you can be seen as a full person. That takes commitment.
I feel that the monuments went up in direct retaliation to people like Maggie Walker, really trying to advance African Americans in the community.
The issue with Monument Avenue is this issue of black resistance and white supremacy. Because at every single turn in Richmond's history, there has been a concerted effort to prevent black people from achieving freedom.
We see these moments in American history, these critical inflection points. One of them being the rewriting of the Reconstruction constitutions to take away all the rights that African Americans had gained after the end of the Civil War. And those monuments cannot be separated from these initiatives. They are inextricably linked to the nature in which people want to control politics and public space. So you don't necessarily need an entire community to tell you they don't like Confederate iconography. You know they knew exactly what it represented. Many of these people were either slaves themselves, right, or the immediate children of slavery. They knew who these men were. There's no way they would have looked at Confederate iconography as war memorials. They would have saw them for what they were, an attempt to reassert control over the black labor force and over black bodies.
This video raises questions that I need for you to be extremely honest in the comments when answering them. And just so you know, I have 3 questions. Number 1, before this video, have you ever heard the name John Mitchell Jr.? Number 2, who would you like for me to do a video on next? And number 3, what are your thoughts about this video? Please share them in the comments. Please be honest when answering these questions. Share this video with anyone you deem necessary. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.